All right. Hey, welcome back to this Lodi High 30 Years Later series. Have the privilege of having Mrs. Joycelyn Murray Anderson with us. Joycelyn, say hello to your classmates.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
All right. Yeah, while we're not live streaming yet, we're taking baby steps on the technology thing. We want to make it as interactive as we can, of course. So, Joycelyn, we'll kind of go the usual route we've gone through as far as kind of going back down memory lane and looking at what life was like in Lodi back in the day, 30 years ago or so, and then kind of fast forward to seeing where life has taken you since, and then kind of looking ahead to what lies ahead. Now, before we get cracking on the slideshow, though, Joycelyn, I had such a smile on my face when you replied to my invite. Do you remember what you said to me on the messenger?
I do. You can share.
Well, yeah. So it was so perfect for you to say it's something to the effect of, I kind of have a boring life, right? So I'm not sure people would want to hear about me.
Exactly.
To which I responded, what? Do you recall?
I got to look back at that. I'm getting old, Joe.
Yeah, I hear you.
49.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm testing you here. I basically said, well, Joycelyn, join the club, right? We're not here to try to do a lifestyles of the rich and famous routine here.
Exactly.
The fact is, all of us kind of go through the hustle and bustle and everyday life experience. But hopefully, the thought is, as we kind of get a window into the highs and lows we all experience, in our personal, professional lives, hopefully we can be some kind of encouragement, maybe some chuckles, and maybe a little reflection, as we're kind of standing on the brink of turning 50 and what the rest of life looks like. So in that regard, I'll say in advance, I'm looking forward to a really enjoyable interview here, and one that I think our classmates will enjoy.
Well, hopefully, yep.
Yes, that's the goal at least. All right, so let me go ahead and share the slideshow then, and we'll kind of have this be a means of jogging the old memory here. All right, so let's get started. We're going way back here, Joycelyn.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, how about this one?
You've been searching, huh?
Well, those yearbooks come in really handy. You know what? It's doing the old automatic.
Love her. I still talk to her. Love her.
Do you? Oh, good. We'll get to her in a sec. But we can't leave this picture too quickly. So I always like getting a sense of. Do you happen to recall anything going on in your mind? With what these shots are reflecting, other than maybe getting ready for a little Sports Illustrated issue here. What's going on in the old two-piece here, Joycelyn?
Wow, that body looks kind of familiar still. I'm a little chunky still.
Yeah. Some things don't change, I guess.
So old. You must have gotten that from my daughter's page, because she's always loving to post my stuff.
You know what? That's actually a great idea. I haven't thought about that. That would be a good place to get some, never before seen
because our kids went to school together. I'm shocked that they didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, in this case, in our high school yearbooks, we had a little retrospective section.
Oh, that's
where,
right. Yes.
We submitted some sort of your childhood photo, and somehow either you or your folks thought this would be suitable, huh?
Yikes.
Any recollection of where this would have been taken?
It had to be somewhere here in Lodi. I mean,
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no town pool at all, but I'm sure you found a way to.
Yeah, my parents always had a pool, so it had to be here.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice. All right, well, hey, let's move on. As you mentioned, Mrs. Littner's getting a lot of love with some of these interviews here.
I love her.
I get a kick out of how you are among like 5 or 6 kids in this picture who are all kind of looking to your left. I'm not exactly sure what you guys are noticing, whether someone's trying to catch your attention or whatever, but
probably. I was always nosy, so I was probably looking at somebody.
Yeah, the inquisitive type, right? All right, so let's fast forward to well, actually, before we go to middle school, the two of us had a chance to go to do Washington School together. Give me a sense of kind of highs and lows when you think about your time at elementary school at Washington.
We had a great time there. I
Yeah,
had like the best of friends. We stayed, we all still talk to one another. I love seeing you and your kids and us growing up together.
yeah,
Washington School is one of my favorites, and my kids all
yeah,
went through Washington School, so it was like reminiscing all over again.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and that's a great question. I wonder how many of our classmates have actually had, their kids have some or all of their time at Lodi. You might
Mm.
be among one of the rare ones that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that my kids both have Mr. Dowson, that I call him Mr. Dowson now. It's
Oh, is
funny.
that right?
And they laugh. They're
Huh?
like, Mom, but you went to school with him? And I'm like, yep.
Yeah,
But I was like, he has to
yeah,
be Mr. Dowson then,
right. Yeah,
But no,
he's laying
yeah.
down the law now up there at the high school, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's at Washington now.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry. That's
Kevin.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
He's holding it down at Washington. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you
My
for
daughter
that
had him
edit
at
there.
middle school, and then my son had him at Washington.
Oh, nice. I think he
Yeah.
did spend a little bit of time at the high school, yeah, before he
Yes, he was a
finally ended
teacher
at
there, though.
Washington. That's right, doing
Mm-hmm.
doing social studies, I think, and now he's
Yes.
the head honcho at Washington.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, he's coming up in the on deck circle. He wanted to wait till after school was over. So,
Oh, good, good, good.
Kevin, your turn is coming, big fella. And yeah, for you live a little bit closer down the street from Washington than I did, but we live on the same street in
Mm-hmm.
Garibaldi.
Yep.
I'd imagine a lot of walking back and from then, in your case.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's all we
Yeah.
did. We walked to school. I tell my kids I walked to the middle school. Here they are spoiled. We have to pick them up. And so
Oh,
we
so
always
you
walk.
even did quite a bit of walking to the middle school as well.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Hey, going old school that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kids have a lot to learn generationally that way, huh?
Exactly. Especially we used to walk in the snow and they don't understand that. They think it's all, myth.
Yeah. Well, and you literally do have a mountain. You do have a hill to deal with when it comes to going up that street to the middle school. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good segue to go now to the middle school there. Um, yeah, in our case, it was 7th and 8th grade.
This is
Any highs or
hilarious.
lows? Yeah, any highs or lows other than that killer outfit you're sporting, huh?
Oh my goodness. My goodness. The styles. And it's so sad they're coming back, these colors, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it does kind of become cyclical that way.
Oh, but
So as
we
far as
all look great. Look at the shoes. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and branching out to the other four schools, go to the middle school. Did you find yourself latching on to any particular folks um, in the other schools or?
You know me, Joe. I was always
Yeah.
friends with everybody. It didn't
Yeah.
matter what group. I always
Yeah.
made friends with everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Amen to that. I tell my kids all the time that,
hmm
if you happen to get best friends, great. But it's far more important to be a good friend, right? And
yes.
to
Yep.
not,
I tried
sometimes
not to
you,
leave anyone left out. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
tell
yeah,
my
to be
kids all
in,
the time, as I was like minority of everybody. Like, I mean, you see Tony there, but
yeah.
pretty much growing up, I was the only little black girl in
I
with your classmates.
yeah, I tell you, I'm
So,
curious to kind of have that be a theme here, as kind of as far as thinking through both then and now. As far as how you're grappling with thinking that through. I remember this was going back probably a year or so ago. No, actually more like 2 years. If
hmm
you remember Larry Crone and Dante McCarroll,
yes.
um, they did a great little video chat like this. I think it was in the wake of George Floyd's death.
Yes.
As
hmm
far as just kind of thinking through some of those implications. And I got to tell you, Jocelyn, hearing Dante's perspective was one that you take for granted the fact that when you're trying to be inclusive and you're trying to raise the family in a way where
hmm
you're being colorblind on the one hand, in terms of knowing we're all equal, and yet on the other hand recognizing the unique challenges that come with our
Absolutely.
particular hats we wear.
hmm
Boy, that was a real eye opener. And so I'll be curious, kind of as we go through here, if any of those observations come up. And certainly knowing that you're wearing a Board of Education hat now as one of your roles, I'd be
Yeah.
fascinated to kind of get a feel for it, how you're thinking through some of those issues and how, things have changed in some ways, things don't
Yeah.
change in other ways. And so
That's
you'd be
kind of one
curious
of
to
the
kind of get your
reasons why
feeling.
I want to join the board. It's,
Oh, right on.
times have definitely changed.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So good. So hold that thought, because that'll be a good
Okay.
one for us to kind of revisit. Anything else? Well, you know what? I think I have a couple more middle school shots.
Oh my
Here's
goodness.
one. Sporting the pearly whites there. Did you
Oh
recall what
my
this
God.
occasion was?
I don't know, it looks like a elf hat or something. I
Yeah, it
don't
was
even know.
something like that. I forget the page. It had some sort of thematic thing to it, but I couldn't quite discern looking at the pictures what was going on. But anyway,
Yeah. Probably
sporting yourself
doing
that
some type
way.
of show. Oh my Lord,
Yeah.
look at the pearls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say I commend you from a length of hair
Oh,
standpoint. You kind of had little bit more reasonable. You kind of like you're sporting now.
yeah.
Maybe not quite doing the hairspray to such a degree.
No.
You know, we have a talent show theme coming up here. So you have this in the middle school book, and then you also refer to it in the high school book. So give us kind of a trip here. What
My
was the
goodness.
fascination with the talent show?
Talent show, talent show. Oh my God.
Oh
And then we even
boy.
did the show with downtown Lodi. I don't know. I guess it started from my brother. He always
Yes.
was into the talent
Yes.
shows and performing, and me with
Yeah.
dance school. I didn't stop dance school till almost high school. So I guess
Oh,
that's
is
where
that
the
right?
performance from.
When
Mhm.
did you start?
Well, it had to be like 2 years old.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you're playing a long game there.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I can recall after I think it was our junior year after one of the talent shows, you guys had folks over in your basement, and I remember joining that crew. I kind of remember what was going. We didn't quite have karaoke machines going on, but I think we had some mixtape sort of things going on in our
Yes.
own little
Break
dance party.
dancing. Yeah. The
Yeah,
cardboard on the floor. That was all my
yeah.
brother. He always liked throwing parties.
Yeah, how about it? And so was that basement kind of a recurring place for
Yeah.
action to happen?
Yeah,
How
pretty
about it?
much. I mean, where we had Mr. Riser come to one of the parties. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
What details? What happened there?
Well, I had to bring his flask back to school the next day.
Oh my gosh, how about that? Well, I mean, you
Yep.
guys certainly had it convenient being as close that kind of how centrally located you guys were,
Yes.
and then having several of you. How far ahead was Joey from you?
He's 2 years older than us. So,
Just 2 years. Okay, got it. So
hmm
you had 2 years of overlap to contend with then.
exactly.
How about it? So kind of mixing those friend circles and whatnot.
Yep.
Oh boy. And so Sharon will come up on more than one occasion here throughout. So I'll be
I
curious to get a
know.
feel
My
for how
girl.
that. Yeah.
We just kind
And
of like
Pete.
retouched base again through Facebook.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The social media has a lot of downsides to it, but when it comes to connection time, if used
Yep.
right, it could be a nice way to go, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So now let's fast forward to Lodi
Oh,
High.
wow.
See,
Well,
not too shabby.
similar
I was gonna
hairdo.
say, yeah. I tell you that's pretty good. Going ageless here.
Now I had to
So it's
dye
gonna.
hair now. I wish I still had that
Uh-huh.
natural color.
Right. So I always get a kick out of reading the bottom comments there. Some of it, could be kind of cryptic and things that only you would know. Any of the stuff down there jump out to you?
Well, I still love the Dolphins. Still love Mickey
Okay.
Mouse.
And as in
Um,
Dolphins, as in Miami Dolphins.
yes.
Okay, got it. Well,
Yeah.
what's the story there?
I don't know. I wish my nephew just got, drafted, as you all know.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of wish he did get drafted there, but that he got drafted to my husband's favorite team, so it's all good.
Where did he land? Remind me.
Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, got it. Oh, you know
Hmm.
what? Not a bad place to be considering his skill set. I think
Yeah.
that coach might be an interesting fit. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm
well,
hoping. We're praying. Yep.
yeah. Well, good. We'll revisit that in the ant section as far as keeping tabs on Jared and the rest of the
So
crew
yeah,
there.
I'm looking at all this stuff. Kill Me Man. I don't know if you remember Keisha Baxter.
Yeah,
Um, so that's kind of from her. She always
is that
used to
right?
say it, so I just always love that saying from her.
Got it.
I still like dancing.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the stuff is funny.
Yeah,
I'm like,
hating fakes and liars. I would think that stays the case, huh?
the same, still the same.
Now,
Um,
remembering TV shows. What do
Yeah.
you got what do you got in the lineup there?
And it's like, oh, see, my brother's dog's here. I'm sorry, I had to pick him up.
Oh, right on.
Um, yeah, I think that's referring to talent shows.
Oh, it
Yeah.
remembers the talent shows. There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, AAC.
I can't remember, to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I don't remember what that is.
And then look at you giving.
Oh, I know what it is. When we started the African American Club.
Oh, got it. Good for you.
Hmm.
Wait, that's coming up in a couple of slides here.
Yeah.
Was that newly formed?
Yeah, we were the first. Keisha and I,
All
we
right.
started in 1990, and then I don't know if they last after we graduated, but
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely started one because we had
Ah,
everybody else's club. We were like,
right.
okay, nobody knows Black history. Let's start that.
There you go. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Nice. Um, so giving some love to the fam as well. Gotta like seeing that.
Yeah.
And a dog as part of your high school
At
time.
that time I had a husky, so it must have either been
Uh-huh.
Benzie. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I seem to recall Benzie being maybe a bouncer at one of your basement parties, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Making his presence felt.
Yeah.
All right. So how about this little senior class leadership going on?
Wow. Wow.
The
Yep.
secretary time alongside Mike and Joey, and there's Sharon again.
There's my Sharon.
And you
Yep.
guys
And
spending
that's the
some.
reason why I'm there, because she was like, you have to run with me.
Is that right? Dragging yourself all the way.
Yeah.
So I got a kick out of this one. Here, you're trying to listen intently to whatever's going on, and who
Oh,
knows?
wow. That was definitely off guard. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, those Kenneth shots could be a little dangerous. And
Probably got in trouble
hey,
for talking so much.
well, yeah, considering Sharon grabbing the class clown title, I'd imagine, and it always kept things pretty adventurous, I would think.
Yes. Wow. These pictures.
So look at you,
Amazing.
rocking the Mickey folder. So staying true to your loves,
Still
huh?
love Mickey. Yep.
Mm,
Wow. I love all these memories.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
rocking a little
goodness. Cheer
cheerleader
time.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
cool.
suppose a good outlet for the dancing background,
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
right? Nice. So there we go. The inaugural, huh?
There it is. Yep.
So I got to say, I do get a kick out of how you talk about Sharon dragging you into leadership there. With Sharon's face in the picture, it's like you dragged her into the club. A little turnabout
Yeah,
fair play,
she had to stick by me, I guess. Yeah, that's a true
right?
bestie, right?
Yeah. How about it?
That's so funny.
Now, so skipping ahead to the board for just a little
Mhm.
window. So no sense of whether that club's still going these days, huh?
I don't think it is. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids both went through the high school. I haven't heard anything. So
Right. Yeah. Imagine you would have you'd have caught wind of some of that.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
maybe they should
So
start another one with all this stuff going on now.
yeah, yeah, that could be. So look at you rocking a little
Oh my
jump
Lord.
rope. So again, your dancing coming in handy, whether it's right, you're finding ways to put it to use and cheering and the
Yeah.
jump rope time.
Wow. You found all the old pictures, Joe.
Yeah, well, the yearbook has gotten that binder's going to be a little loose as we go here.
Oh my
So,
goodness, this is so funny.
what's going on with leaving the gap?
Okay, so the
So all her
GAP,
books and classes, yeah,
Jasmine, I don't know if you remember the Lopez's that used to live across the street.
yes.
Yes, so that's who the Gap is. That's the Garibaldi Ave posse.
Oh, how about it? Fun facts. No, did not know about that. How about it?
Yeah,
And then
we
giving
were
some
so
love to some.
silly.
Is that right? So,
Yeah.
they a couple years younger.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Juliet's like, I think
Yeah.
a year after, and like I think Jasmine's 2 years.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to roll with the folks in your immediate area, so I get it.
Yeah.
So then,
Mhm.
giving some love to some of the underclassmen there at the end there with the C initials, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes. So that was Teray. I don't know if you remember my cousin Roland and Teray.
I don't.
Um, I don't know who else those other names are, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Right.
Be a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's just your nurturing way, though, looking out for those coming after. So, what miss having to see my so-called friends? So, you got a little drama going on here.
It's always some high school drama, and I don't even know who those initials are.
Right.
Because I
Well,
kind
that
of
might be
like,
it.
yeah, I kind of never really had fights with anyone except for like
Right.
one incident in high school. But other than that,
Nice. And when you reflect back on your high school time, in terms of any memorable teachers or friendships that were really critical, defining
um,
moments, anything like that?
my favorite, well, I have a couple favorites from high school, but
Yeah.
my ultimate favorite was Miss Zamparty. I mean, to the point
Uh-huh.
where she used to just let us drive her car up to the front, um, let us skip class, take us for ice cream, which nobody knew that. So,
Oh, how about it? A
yeah,
little inner
Mr.
circle
Tarico
group.
getting me out of class while I had to go to summer school for biology because I always missed the labs because I hated doing lab.
Yikes.
But then I passed in summer school because I didn't have to do labs. So.
Uh-huh.
Oof.
Didn't want to dissect the frog.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
I
my,
still
my, my
my kids laugh at me to this day. They're like, "You didn't do any?" I'm like, "No." It's like your grandparents hated me that I had to go to summer school, but I wasn't doing that.
Oh my word. Yeah, my
So
14-year
yeah,
old's
Mr.
going through
Tarico
that
got me
right
out of
now.
a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
So,
Hey, nice to have friends in the right places, I guess, huh?
yeah, exactly.
As in terms of friendships that you're still connected with, anyone you find yourself staying in touch with?
Just like I said, just through like Facebook and social media,
Yeah.
but I really haven't hung out with any of my high school friends except they were upperclassmen. I hung out with a lot of upperclassmen too.
Ah.
So I
Well,
don't know if
it's
you
for
remember
Joey's
Danita
it's for Joey's
Singh.
connections, right? I'd
Yeah.
imagine there'd be some overlap, right?
Yeah. So I see a lot of them, like all my older upperclassmen friends.
Right. And while we're at it, sibling wise, we'll get to them in a second here.
Mhm.
Is Karen the oldest?
Karen is the oldest.
Okay. And how much older is she
I
than
mean, I do
Joey?
have two other older siblings from my father's side because we have different fathers.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so Larry and Jackie would be the oldest.
Okay, got it. And then
Yeah.
and then Karen after that.
Yep.
Got it. And how much older is Karen from Joey?
Uh, I'm Karen's 10 years older than me, and I guess
Ah,
she's about
okay.
8 or 9
Yeah,
years
7 or 8
older
then.
than
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Well, without further ado, let's fast forward to this beautiful crew.
I
Introduce
laughed
us,
at you when
please.
you said pictures. I hate pictures now, so it's like I'm never with my family's pictures, but I
Yeah.
forgot I had
Well,
another graduation one.
we thank you for being a good sport here. So introduce us, please.
Okay, so that's my husband Dwayne, my son
Yeah.
Brandon, Kaylin's in the
Nice.
middle in the cheer outfit,
Yeah.
Karina and me.
All
And then
right.
look at the
There you
wall. Look
go.
how they covered our wall up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not quite the same than what we remembered it.
No.
And speaking of the wall, by the way, I've typically posted that picture as part of the slideshow. I couldn't find you in our class picture.
I was like way in the back. Like I laugh at that
Oh,
picture
were
when
you?
people post it. Yeah.
Oh, well, here I'm thinking maybe Mr. Rico got you out of that as well then. So I got to go
No.
back and
I
see
probably
see
was
if I can.
hiding. I hate pictures, but
Oh
yeah.
boy, well we have a theme going on here then.
Hmm.
Got it. Well, all right. So while we're here, then, tell us the story of you and your hubby. How'd you guys meet? How long's it
Um,
been?
a family friend actually, my
Ah,
cousin's, yeah, her boyfriend. So we were all hanging out one day, and that's how that happened.
okay. And so, how far back is this going as far as when you guys met?
Like literally after we graduated, so around 90,
Oh,
91.
okay.
Yeah, he graduated Passaic High 90.
Uh
Yeah, so I kind of
huh.
met him in
Got it.
between then.
Right. So,
Yeah,
so shortly after high school was over, then.
yeah.
Got it. Well, speaking of which, while we're there, what was life after high school like for you, path-wise
Just
for you?
so I was gonna become a cop like my brother, and
Yeah.
then I didn't like it.
Uh huh.
I switched
So
different
you went
things.
you went
So
through some of the training.
yeah, yeah.
Did not know that. How about that?
Well, I always wanted to work with juveniles. I always wanted to work with some type of children, but then Mr. Corlett was actually the one that made me change into doing accounting work. So when I was in Berkeley and Montclair, I switched over doing some of that work, and I was like a staff accounting and a one job, and moved my way up and started
Okay.
becoming the administrative part of it, assistants and doing stuff like that. But then I always stayed
Right.
within bookkeepings and doing, accounts
Yeah.
payable, accounts receivable. Like actually right now with Boys and Girls Club, I kind of do like the membership part of it, but I still deal with money. I still deal with the receiving part of it. And
Uh-huh.
I stuck with that part, just
Yeah.
doing accounting type work.
Nice. Good
Yeah.
transferable skills there.
Yeah. I don't think I would have lasted as a cop. I'm too soft. I
Ah,
would have been
well,
like, very like soft. I did, work internships in lawyers' offices and thought that was going to be the path for me, but
right.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, uh, so much, so much respect for what Joe and the others, who serve in
Hmm.
that role do. Talk about
Absolutely.
a thankless
Absolutely.
job,
It's hard.
to
Yeah.
walk a fine line of protecting and serving and doing it in a way
Hmm.
where you're engendering confidence and security
Yeah.
and recognizing that in those split second moments, it's tough to make the right
Absolutely.
call.
No, I
So
commend them. I commend them so much. I mean, it's a
yeah,
hard job. And like I was
yeah.
saying, like the reason why I turned from it, it's they're harder on the females. And it was just like, I had just
Oh,
finished,
got it.
being in a sorority, dealing with the yelling in the face and I was like, no, I'm not going through that again.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I guess it'd be better you decided that in the front end rather than going down the road and then feeling trapped of sorts, huh?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm. And so you guys met shortly after high school then,
Yes.
going back to Dwayne, you
Hmm.
said? Is that right?
Dwayne. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And how long did you date before he popped the question? Assuming he popped it, by the way, unless you did.
No, no, no. He
All
did.
right.
We were dating on and off for like about, I think it was almost close to 7 years, maybe
Oh,
5, 7
wow.
years, something like that,
Yeah. And you
before he
said he's
popped.
similar age. Because he
Yes.
graduated shortly after us as well. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
7 years. All right. Doing your due
Mm-hmm.
diligence, huh?
Yeah.
And as far as him popping the question and then moving on to married life, anything notable
Married
there?
life. We shortly had Kaylin, which is the one in the middle, like a year after we
Aha.
got married in 98.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. And so and what's Kaylin up to?
She is that's my little rebel child now.
Uh-oh.
She went
Yeah.
to school in San Diego, finished that. Now
Oh.
she's in Miami. She's trying to do her grad school in Miami. So she just loves the
Ah,
sun and fun
I was
and
gonna say warm weather gal, huh?
yep, definitely.
Okay. Well,
And we
which makes
laugh
for
at
a
her
nice
every time she comes home. We're like, you're in New Jersey now. Like you gotta cover
right.
up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose it makes for a good destination for you to go visit in the wintertime,
Yeah,
perhaps. Nice.
yeah,
And what is
yeah.
she
And then
pursuing?
huh? She does
Uh,
communications. She's in
oh, nice.
communications. Right now she's trying to do business. So that's
Uh-huh.
what she wants to get into and do like a
That's great.
entertainment, like event planner type of
Yeah.
person.
Okay.
She loves all that stuff.
Very nice. And
Yep. And then
next?
my middle one, Karina, just graduated.
Yeah.
Had to deal with the lovely COVID.
Uh-huh.
Now she goes to Rutgers. She's doing criminal justice. So she's kind of
Oh,
following her
okay.
uncle's. In the law and
I see.
so she wants to be more of a
Nice.
detective and deal with the crimes. And yeah, she's
All
into that.
right. Okay. Going
Yeah.
the
And my
deep
little
end,
one's
huh?
going to be graduating 8th grade. So we'll see what happens with him. Nice one.
Yeah. Hey, long
Mm,
days, short years. That's the life
exactly.
of a
That was my
parent.
little surprise baby.
Aha. Good. I'm sure Dwayne's happy to have a boy in the mix to
Yeah.
carry the line
Mm,
on, huh?
yeah.
Well, so hey, we'd be remiss not to ask when you think about married life, which didn't take too long to add children to the mix. Give us a
Yeah.
window into your highs and lows being both a wife and a mom.
It's definitely been a struggle, as parents,
Yeah,
trying to make sure everyone's happy and aligned and just making sure the households ran well. It's
right.
hard to discipline, and he's like the nice one, and I'm the drill sergeant. So it's, yeah,
Uh-huh. Little
Yeah,
good cop, bad cop. I gotcha.
exactly.
So there you go. You have your outlet for the cop part of you, I guess.
There it was. Yep.
Right.
So, but it's yeah,
Uh,
it's been good. And then he's we had our problems, it's all marriages, but
yes, of course.
everything works out good, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Playing the long game. My daughter has just taken a little plunge into the dating world, and
Oh
so
wow.
yeah, she's 14 going on 15, and
14 going on
yeah.
100, right?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, the 15. That's chronologically speaking, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I gotta say, it's definitely an eye opener and one that's expanding the prayer life a little bit, if I could say. Um,
Oh,
but also, just trying to, impart to her that, love incorporates feelings, of course, right? And we all love the great feelings and the euphoria, but
mm-hmm.
love is also based on choices and commitment, right? And you
Absolutely.
know, every one of
Mm-hmm.
us are tempted to want to enjoy the bennies of a relationship and not the commitment part of the relationship. And
Yep.
so,
Yep.
keep in mind the fact that it takes, it takes some perseverance and
Absolutely.
courage to choose even when you don't feel like it, right? So,
You're right. You're right.
anyway, we'll see how that all shakes out over time here. Um,
Yeah, she'll be
so,
fine. She has a good dad. Yeah, I had to deal with that with my daughter's first heartbreak, but
oh, is that right?
just gotta
Yeah.
just gotta
Uh,
reassure them that they're worthy, they're valued.
yes. Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
I'm glad you said it that way, Joss, because initially I thought I had made clear to them that, you can have a rich social life in these years
Hmm.
without having to go down that road and then
Yes.
potentially expose yourself, to, the puppy love and the heartbreak and whatever. But, we ultimately decided on counsel of some other people, including actually Mark Leone, who we connect every couple of weeks, to kind of be an
Nice.
encouragement to each other. With a view towards the trade-offs of, on the one hand, you want to protect and shield, from the bad
Yes.
stuff in life happening. Yet on the other hand, you got to give them a little bit of freedom while they're under your
Yeah.
roof, to,
Mm-hmm.
to go through the school of hard knocks, in
Yep.
terms of making choices, sometimes ones you're not crazy about, but so that
Mm-hmm.
under your tutelage, they can kind of, hopefully fail forward, so to speak. That when things,
Absolutely.
not
No.
if, but when things don't go right, they have you to kind of come alongside and say, all right, what are the takeaways? What would you have done
Mm-hmm.
differently and what have you?
Yep.
How'd you respond? A wise person once said, it's not always what happens to you, it's what happens in you, and how
Absolutely.
you kind of evolve your perspective on life to
Mm-hmm.
hopefully live and learn.
Yep. Failures teach good lessons. You have to
Yeah.
have them.
Yeah.
Have to have
Well,
some.
so we're gonna pivot to talking a little more about the extended family as well. Um, but when it comes to thinking about marriage and parenting in your household versus what it was
Mm-hmm.
like back in the day growing up,
Yeah.
give me a little sense of comparing and contrasting, values, habits, defining moments.
Well, yeah, we had a strong, strong religious one where I
Yeah.
was in church like probably 3 times a week that no one probably knew about that. I also had to do with
Yeah.
Catholic, so I was Baptist and Catholic at that time. So going
Oh,
back from
I did
St.
not know that.
Joe's for my father and then Baptist church with my mom. So yeah.
Ah, so St. Joe's locally with dad in town. Where was mom's
Mm-hmm.
Baptist church?
And Hackensack.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so you were doing double duty. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. So what does that look like in your household?
Well, right now we're Pentecostal, but like my
Uh-huh.
husband is leaning towards the Muslim religion, so he's feeling in
Oh,
that. And my son's kind of like interested in it. So, I'm all
okay.
open for religion.
Yeah,
As long as you're following God. It's
yeah,
only one God. So
right. Gotcha. Uh, yeah. So trying to impart that to the kids then, as far as being on the same page.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And as far as other yeah, other values or kind of memorable things, do you hear your mom's
Um,
voice in you when it comes to
I
some of the
do.
things that
I
yeah,
do.
I'd
I do
imagine
hear
you
my kids say it all the time. You're like, you sound like your mother. You sound like your mother.
would.
So I do. value. Like she instilled a lot in us, especially as far as so we'll go back to one, making sure the family stays together. Like we do try to make Sunday dinners as one. I mean, a lot of us now are different lives. Like where my brother used to come over every Sunday, or my sister, but now one lives in Georgia. My brother still lives in town, but like it's everybody has their own family. Like his son just had a
Yeah.
child, so he's been the proud grandpa now. So
Yeah.
it's
How about that?
kind of hard. But my mom always wanted, that family time on Sunday.
Yeah.
Kind of try to do that, but everybody's doing their own thing again now. My kids are
Yeah.
working. It's a little bit
Yeah.
harder, but I try to do
Yeah. Yeah. Those recurring rhythms, there's
it.
something to be said about bringing that little sense of normalcy to the
Yes.
generations that way.
Yeah.
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 Neat. Um, yeah. So as far as things that you've like purposely said you're going to do differently than what you had in your home, anything like that as far as approaches
The
to
only thing
discipline or
I guess the only thing I'm different. My parents were kind of like strict with my friends. Like my kids have it's an open door policy. Like anybody and
aha.
everybody comes in. Like I'd rather them be here than
Yeah.
out in the streets where I was always out, or have my brother like cover for me, or like I sneaking out or whatever. But
Right.
I
Oh,
have an
good. You
open
like
door
having
policy as
the
far as
home
that.
advantage then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is something to be said about that. We had that growing up with our crew where our house was kind of the revolving door spot. And
Yeah.
there's less of that now. So yeah, you do lose a little bit of that kind of oversight and overhearing stuff going on that they wouldn't necessarily directly tell you, but you're
Mm-hmm.
hearing them, in the the chatter with their friends.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Um, So, let's transition now to kind of talking about that wider fam. Great shot you got here at the tree with the crew.
With the
Um,
crew.
yeah, so you got Joe on the far left there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Jared and Jimmy kind of anchor in the middle there. Now, did
Yep.
you mention that Karen's family is in Georgia right now?
Yes, they're in
Is that
Georgia.
right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did they spend some time in Tennessee and then go a little further south? Was that the plan?
Well, when Jared decided to go to Tennessee, that's what made
Yeah.
them move to Georgia. They didn't want to be too close to him, but close enough. Because the
Oh,
airfare
got
from
it.
Jersey and there was so now they were driving from Georgia to Tennessee. So
Oh,
it's a little,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's convenient. And where's Joe and his family living?
They're in Lodi still. I know he's going to be moving soon, but I mean,
I
he's
thought I
glad he
heard that.
stayed because yeah,
Yeah.
his son's getting married and he just had a baby, so
Yeah. All right
he's
on.
happy.
Uh
Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, you at least have one of your siblings in the family nearby then. That's certainly a
Yep.
you can always choose that stuff. So when you have some of that local family, and certainly, thankfully with technology, that helps to
Yeah,
bridge some of
it
that
works.
distance
Yeah.
here and there. Um, while I think of it, who was it in your family that had that really dangerous little plunge in water?
What? In
Right?
our family?
Wasn't there a car accident a couple years back that
Oh, yes.
right? So remind me, was that one of your girls? So you're muted here. Don't know if you're trying to get your bearings as to let's see. Um, yeah, it may have been your feed that's freezing up here for a sec. I'm just gonna pause this real quickly. All right, and we're back. So I think this
Sorry
is the
about that.
first. Hey, no worries. The technology is a blessing and a curse, so it is what it is. Well, and I made a joke in our texting about this, saying having just finished Stranger Things, hoping there wasn't a supernatural connection. I'm glad to hear you enjoy it with your family as well.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
now, give me a spoiler-free reaction for folks that haven't watched it yet.
Oh, I'm not well, okay. So I was on and off with it because that's
Aha.
what my kids like.
Yeah.
I don't like spooky things. That's all I can say.
Yes. Well, I must say, yeah, I find that both Sandy and I were turning away more than our kids were, when it
Yes.
came to what was going on. And I got to say, this season 4 so far, a little bit more intense and gory than I remember the other seasons.
Yes.
But I got to say, the storylines are great. And growing up in the 80s, some of that
Oh yeah.
nostalgia is very cool.
I was telling my kids the music. I love the music.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, they haven't gone all the way through with the 80s. I'm waiting for a little New Kids, some New Edition. They got a lot of notable places they can still go here.
Yes. But they brought back
So,
roller rink, which I loved.
yes, which made a lot of sense. Good memories there. Yeah, we also will rely on the Goldbergs every once in a while to get some of that 80s taste. And the
Yes.
Goldbergs, ironically, their family grew up literally a town over from where I am here in
Wow.
just north of Philly. So kind of a cool connection, some of the
Nice.
references there. But yeah, while we're there, as far as kind of activities you enjoy doing with the fam, to kind of have some, time with them, aside from shows like that, anything else you guys enjoy doing together?
Our favorite thing is to do is go to Great Adventures. My kids are thrill seekers. They love roller
Ah,
coasters. So one
yeah.
of their
And Great
favorite things to do.
Adventure. Yeah, Great Adventure has something for everyone in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So we
think it
kind
was in
of
the
we kind of, go to a lot of amusement parks. So that's their
nice.
favorite.
Well, I think I was mentioning to Roy in the last video about Action Park.
Mhm. Wow.
Boy, I don't know if you ever saw HBO's. They did a little documentary on
Really?
Action Park called Class Action Park.
Oh, I
Talking
didn't
about just
know.
how, yeah, just the Wild West nature of safety not being a high priority and how they
No.
ran things over there. Super entertaining on the one hand, but also very sad on the other hand, as far as
Hmm.
thinking through some serious injury and even death happening over there. So hopefully, Great Adventure will treat you better in that regard. Um, as far as kind of blending with your hubby and what he grew up with, what was that like as far as things you had to negotiate, things that you had to adapt to, both in your marriage and parenting
Um,
roles here?
yeah, well, I mean, he kind of grew up kind of like me. He went to Catholic schools, so he was
Uh-huh.
kind of like, I know he grew up in Passaic, but he wasn't like a Passaic
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, he did the same things we did. He's a baseball player. He played
Okay.
football. So yeah,
Got it.
we never have too many differences.
Yeah, didn't have to bridge too big a gap then.
No,
Nice. What is he doing professionally?
he is a drug and alcohol counselor. So
Uh-huh.
he deals with a lot of
Yeah.
that.
Wow. Is he able to do that locally?
He's actually right now near Kenilworth.
Okay.
So yeah, at first he was locally. He was doing at Straight and Narrow and
Yeah.
Patterson, and then he moved up.
Yeah. Oh
He
boy,
he
what
followed
a
his one supervisor that he liked. So
oh nice.
she left. She took him.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
boy, what a you talk about thankless but valuable job there, in terms of
Yes.
serving folks often in one of the more crucial
Hmm.
crossroads of their lives.
Yeah. He
Good
was
for
always
you.
into
Good.
like that social work and dealing.
Yeah,
He was like a mentor, and he likes all
right.
that.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's pivot then and talk about your Board of Education hat. So tell us the story of choosing to put your hat in the ring, and how's it been?
Um, yeah, pretty much it had to deal with my kids going through school and seeing the
Yeah,
different changes, like you said, with everything going on with society and them growing up in Lodi being a minority, but not a minority anymore.
yeah,
Um, I kind of wanted to put some things into the schools that we needed. Like we definitely needed some type of diversity being taught in the schools. So
right,
as far as that was one of my main goals is trying to, get some of that in the curriculum, a
right.
little better training on what's going on with the kids, the bullying. We didn't, I mean, we dealt with bullying, but we didn't deal with bullying. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I don't remember us ever really fighting like that and
mm.
bringing guns and to school.
Ah,
I don't remember us doing that, but it's a thing now. The society, the kids, the generation. That's pretty much what they want to do.
mm.
So I kind of
Right.
was like, that's what one of the reasons. And then I found out who was on the board, and I love Mrs. Cardone, and I love, you know, what she's trying to do and change, the way Lodi does things. So I was all
Yeah.
for
Yeah, Mrs. Cardone is certainly a long timer there. So,
it. Yeah.
that's always the trick with any sort of, team or group where the right blend of multi-generational connections
Yes.
and, the veterans who have been there and kind of know the way things roll, but also
Hmm.
some fresh voices and some new input. I
And
think
that was, yeah.
yeah,
And that's what was interesting to see, how our voices will, help the
yeah,
generation now. Because we've
right.
been there. Like it's kind of like, yes, we're old school, but like they're kind of like down to earth with us. Like, like where they're not gonna listen to Mrs. Cardone, where they'll listen to us versus,
Yes,
so
right.
our opinions matter to this
Yeah.
generation now.
Well, and we're finding that in parenting as well, that,
Yeah.
amazing how the same thing said from you, but
Hmm.
heard from someone else
Yeah,
makes a world of difference, in terms of our
absolutely.
teenagers' readiness to accept the wisdom that you're trying to pass on. So being
Absolutely.
able to strategically place those aunts and uncles, so to speak, whether
Hmm.
literally or in the form of teachers or coaches, goes a long way
Yeah.
to wanting them to become the people that you hope that they will grow up to be.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
how long has your stint been so far with the board? And give us some highs and lows.
Well, there's always some lows. The
Of
highs
course.
are that we have a really good team.
Yeah.
Our superintendent's really for the kids in this town and for the
Yeah.
people. I appreciate what he's doing. I back him up 100%. The lows is, of course, we can't please everyone.
Of course.
That's
Yeah.
just America. We can't
Yeah.
please, just like with our government now, can't
Right.
please everyone. Um, but really, I mean, I kind of like avoid the politics part of it because I'm really not into the politics.
Yeah.
Really just there for the kids, and
Right.
that's my main goal.
Yes. Yeah. Easier said than done, right? When it
Yeah,
comes to not wanting self-interest to get in the way of what your responsibility is.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think that
yeah,
applies to a lot of the roles we have in life is to
yeah.
think outside of yourself, when you're
Yes.
focused on
And
loving
I
and
always
serving the
had a
person in front
great
of you.
respect for all the teachers in our town. I think they do a wonderful job with our kids.
Right. Right.
Some people just feel like they don't deserve what they deserve,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they
Um,
definitely.
right. And as far as how does the board work these days in terms of how long your role current your current term and how often that
My
gets renewed?
current term is for 3 years.
Okay.
So I'm up in 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, people are coming and going. We just had to appoint someone new. Somebody left.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess they just can't handle whatever's getting thrown at them.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have some
Yeah.
tough decisions. A
Yes.
lot of things we don't agree on,
You're right.
but we make it work. That's what I like about this team.
Wow. You mean you guys actually compromise and try to work together?
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
novel concept.
yeah.
Tongue
I
in
love
cheek,
the
of
fact that
course.
we break up into committees now, where
Yeah.
it's like the committees bring forth what we meet about and we vote about, and we try to bring it back to the board so we all
Right.
can agree on something. So I
Sure.
do like that.
Right. We're in a smaller setting. You can drill deeper on a given topic and then bring it to the rest of the
Exactly.
board and get some collective buy-in that way.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the world of committees can seem a little, red tape-ish and
Hmm.
bureaucratic, but when done correctly, it's a good use of your time and energy where you can kind of drill down on the things that you might find near and dear to you. So that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so let's pivot now to talking about, on the edge of turning 50 and what the next half of life looks like. And maybe let's do that with a window towards, reflecting on your relationship with your parents through the years and how that kind of shapes and informs your vision for what the second half of life might look like.
Well, I was a caregiver for my mom when she got sick. So it showed me a lot what she'd done for us as children. Gave me a different perspective of, what I want to instill in my own children. So
Mm,
that
right.
was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And remind us how long was that journey?
Um, she had this. It was like about a year and a half.
Okay.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my father was a little longer. The reason why I moved back in with my parents, it was to help my mom with my dad. And he had his stroke, and then he had got caught up with diabetes. His leg got amputated, and it was like, it was a lot on her, as a
Right.
caregiver. So I came back to help her out with that. So
Right.
his was a little bit longer, a
Right.
longer time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about that circle of life when
Hmm.
you have that transition to now what goes
So I
around
kind
comes
of learned a
around.
lot from that. So I don't want my kids to go through that, so me and my husband both have talked about like getting ourselves in line so they don't have to deal with that part of it or the caregiving part of it,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
And of course, that generation, they didn't prepare us. My parents
Right.
did stuff. They were
Right.
hiding
We'll
money
figure it out
in
as we go.
mattresses. Like they didn't
Right.
do the things right.
Right.
So I'm trying to
Yes.
learn from that and get policies and wills and all that stuff. Like right now, I'm still dealing with trying to this house and if I want to stay here, if I don't want to stay in Lodi, kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. So working out some of those details, and yeah, those practical things matter when it comes to
mm-hmm.
you want to live in the moment on the one hand, but you also have to anticipate what may or
Yes,
may not come down the road.
yeah.
Yeah, I reflect on my parents. It's been 5 years from my mom dying from breast cancer, and
Wow, I remember. Yeah.
she, yeah, we talked about some long-term care planning for them and possible insurance, and
Mm-hmm.
as it turns out, my mom qualified, my dad didn't because of his diabetes and heart issues, and
Mm-hmm.
my mom was just about to start um, collecting some of the benefit and actually using some of the policy proceeds for her, and she
Mm-hmm.
died shortly thereafter. So here, the person who needed it and qualified died before she was able to
For
enjoy it, whereas my
yes,
dad, he really needed it, but insisted on staying at home. And you've met my sister-in-law Nancy, and
yes.
what an angel she's been to essentially be his caregiver for the past several years before he just passed back in January.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so yeah, you don't sign up for it, in terms of knowing exactly what that's going to entail. And
Mm-hmm.
certainly it's one thing to have your heart in the right place to want to give back and serve that way, but it
Yes.
comes with costs, both not only financially but time and some of the emotional elements that go into what that role reversal looks like.
Yes. Yes. I
Mm,
agree.
yeah. Well, and I love seeing how you've kind of carried on some of your brother Joe's habit as far as imparting some wisdom to folks on Facebook with some of your posting. Was
Yes.
he
Yeah.
or other things an inspiration for you to be in the wisdom business
Yeah,
or what?
he's a good inspiration. I mean, I love that he started the Embrace the Chase and Joe's always been the gift of gab, he's always
Yeah.
been that smooth talker.
Right.
So it's definitely
Yeah.
him. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just find my pastor is amazing. I kind of embody her a little bit
Ah.
sometimes when I see certain verses and things being said. So
Right. Right. Just wanting to amplify and put
yes.
put that truth out
Try to
there.
keep that positive energy going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's very easy to kind of get stuck in our own world, and sometimes you
Yes.
need that truth to break through to give you a new perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, as we kind of come down the stretch here,
Hmm.
give us a little bit of a forecast as far as what does the second half of life look like for Joycelyn and family, huh?
Well, the second half for me, I don't know about my family, but I want to move to Texas. They don't want to have anything to do with
Ah,
Texas. That's where my
Texas. All
best friend
right.
lives. And I kind of want to be, yeah. I loved it. I went there for a business trip, fell in love with
Yeah.
Houston. So that's always been one of my
Yeah.
things.
Right on. Yeah, every
I mean,
winter
they're
I
getting
tell.
grown. I got my son to finish high school, and then hopefully whatever college he decides to go to, if he doesn't decide to go to, yeah, I
All
think
right.
that's down the road for me. Yeah. So
Nice. How's Dwayne feel about the thought of going to?
Uh, he doesn't like it. He's more of he loves the East Coast. He loves the yeah.
Got
If
it.
it was up to him, we would be living in Philadelphia with you or Pennsylvania or somewhere.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you got some negotiation ahead of you then, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'll just have a house there, maybe, or a little ranch or something, some horses.
Well, that's where I find myself. Every winter I'm like, what in the world are we still doing up here and not down south? On the one hand. On the other hand, for those of us that grew up in the Northeast and can appreciate the seasons, I'm sure I would miss the fall and the spring if it were, going south and just being warm all the time.
Yeah.
I think you don't realize what you enjoy sometimes until you don't have it.
No,
right?
I definitely love the winter, but I know I couldn't see myself living somewhere and like somewhere really cold. So
yeah, I find myself saying, from Thanksgiving to New Year's, it kind of feels right to have some cold. But man, January 2nd, please, let's get back to 70 as quickly as we can. As maybe my Mediterranean blood coming out or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up with this. Here you have an audience with our fellow classmates. If you want to reflect on any sort of real life principles that have stood out to you, I have the billboard test that Tim Ferriss talks about. If you had a billboard on Route 46, Route 80, Route 17, obviously this is kind of a digital billboard.
Yes.
What kind of wisdom would you want to pass on to your fellow classmates?
I don't know. I think we had a really good class. So, I mean, there's not much we can say. We were all raised really, really well. So it's a good class. There's really not much to say. It's just love one another. That's all. We may disagree on certain things, but always be that kind person. Just gotta love one another. That's all.
Yeah, amen to that. Love one another. Kind of has a timeless ring to it. I think that'll stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Joycelyn, this was great.
It was
thanks so
awesome.
much.
I love that you're doing this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I love seeing my old classmates.
Yeah, it's a labor of love, and you see,
my brother's here, so he's getting his dog.
Nice. Well,
you
send
can
our
peek
love.
in, Joe. Come say hello. It's Joe Bazooka.
Oh, how about
we
that?
were just talking about you. I was like, I kind of get you're the wisdom.
Joe, some bonus content. How about that, brother?
I hear you.
Hey, so Joe, I was just giving Joycelyn some love that she's following your footsteps, doing some of the wisdom stuff on Facebook.
Embrace the taste. I love it, right?
Look at you. Hey, you're raising the standard, right? And now it's trickling down to the sibs. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, well, you keep shining that way on Facebook, and you guys corner the market. So blessings to you, bro.
Good seeing you, brother.
You're right. Yeah. So Joycelyn,
so you had a guest appearance. Look at that.
Yeah, I think this is our first. That's very good. So I'm gonna bet when I post this that folks that are gonna chime in and say, "Thank you, Joss. You may have the boring life that you think you have, but the fact of the matter is, we're all in this together. So many of us share very common goals as far as wanting to have thriving marriages and families and professional lives and be neighbors that can say, oh, you know what, you're a blessing to our community. So thanks, by extension to our Lodi community, to how you're serving now with the board, doing your family, holding it down still back in Lodi, and blessings as you look forward to the next 30 to 50 years down the road here.
Thank you. And thank you again for doing this. This is awesome.
You got it. My pleasure. All right. Talk to you.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Take care.